My brother and I were born December 24th, 1952, in Pasadena, California. We had an incredible childhood. My dad and grandfather owned an aerospace company. The first house I remember was near an orange grove. My brother and I would sneak through the fence and walk in the orange grove. There was a tree house and we could climb up on it. We were probably 3 years old. Our house was years ahead of its time. My father and grandfather were both inventors. They developed a house where you could walk in the house, clap your hands, and the lights would come on. The outlets weren't on the walls, but hidden in the carpets. We had sensors that when it rained, the windows would close. My mom would watch us in the backyard by a video camera while she was cooking dinner. This house was featured in the Los Angeles Times home selection. This is back in the early 50s. In the early 2000s, I saw a Burger King commercial where my mom was making hamburgers. The frying pan was floating in the air. The stove used induction coils. At that same time period, they developed a Jeep that could shoot at its tires and nothing would happen. This Jeep could float downstream. It was lighter and got more miles per gallon than the standard Jeep. They tried to get the United States government to buy the Jeeps, but after several years of losing bids, they saw the handwriting on the wall. If you don't have inside connections with the government, you could have a futuristic Jeep and nobody would care. During this time, they came up with a way to make houses that would cost 1/10 of the present day house. It was all modular. They could put up a complete house in a week. The trade union was strongly opposed to this. Consequently, it was never marketed. I guess those early years really had an impact on me. I subconsciously adapted to always looking towards the future and bring that technology back to the present. One of my first was multimedia. Even before multimedia was born, I had a company with a good longtime friend, John Slowski. We developed a visual database for the real estate market. You could put in a search for a house, and all house which matched the criteria the house would come up. When you saw a house you liked, it would take you on the tour of the house. The program won awards at trade shows, but it was far too ahead of its time. We developed some trial photo database programs for the Department of Justice, but finally lost to IBM, who bidded $1 for the job. One of my first impressions when I was young was that when my brother and I was born, I said to him, "You go first and check it out." My brother remembers going down a long, bright tunnel in ecstasy and then told me to come down. I remember it was a rush and both of us laughed inside. When we were young, my brother and I had our own telepathic communication with each other. A lot of people thought we had communication problems because we didn't talk English very well. I remember our state of communication was nonverbal, but with thoughts, pictures, emotions, and experience. It was like if you wanted to know about an apple and you never seen one. Talking was one way to explain about an apple. Another way was to graphically send the experience of an apple. I remember hearing stories about tribes in the South Sea Islands who would communicate with their loved ones telepathically. Today, we use telephones. Our sense of communication is more physical. It's kind of funny that people think it is mystical when it's probably very natural. We have simply not used this communication, so we forget we ever had this ability. So now, we scoff at the idea that men can communicate in ways that we don't imagine.